This December, I'm making a Christmas calendar using vanilla JavaScript and HTML canvas. In each one of these days, I'm gonna procedurally generate a unique Christmassy item because I need icons like these around this time, and good free ones are hard to come by. I also want to easily scale and color them in different ways. I hope you'll follow along and implement your own versions so I can showcase them in a special video on the 24th. You'll practice working with coordinates, basic math, and various JavaScript programming techniques. It's a good project, I think, to learn about code modularity, reusability, and how to write consistent code. Today is day 13 and we're gonna draw a tree.
Coding with Radu. Let's code now.
To draw a tree here next to the other items, we are going to add another function to our array at the 13th index, draw tree, and we'll implement this function in its own file, tree.js. Control clicking this in VS Code creates the file for us. And I'm just going to quickly implement the function here with the same parameters as all others. And let's get a couple of helper variables, top and left. And I'm going to use them to draw this bounding box so we have an idea of where our tree should fit. And let's begin with the tree trunk. So starting at the bottom here, I already can tell that I need another helper variable for the bottom here. And let's have a width for our trunk. And I'm just going to set this as a fraction of the size, maybe 10%. And I'm going to draw from the bottom to maybe just the center screen because it's going to get covered with those components of the tree. Yeah, so dark values because it's going to be very dark there under all those leaves. And let's just do a simple line from X bottom to XY, which is the center point. Save, refresh, and there is the trunk. And now for these leaves, I'm going to draw some triangles, kind of like building blocks on top of each other. So let's start with the bottom block and set here attributes for it. So the bottom value of the bottom block, let's say how far we want it off from the ground, maybe 20% of the size. And then the top, maybe 50%. Let's make it so it meets this tip of the trunk for now. And now the width, I'm not going to cover the entire screen, so maybe just 80%. And we would like to have helper variables to get here the left and the right of the block because we're going to draw a triangle. So we need those as the x coordinate. And I want to use the value of this width, not rewrite size times 80%. And for that, we need to use here a getter, because the object has to be ready to be able to use this on it. And having this as a getter means that the function will call when we try to use left, and it will work reusing the value here. So half the width to the left and half the width to the right by adding it here. And I think that all we need is the color, maybe a normal value of this hue. And now we can start drawing it. So let's set this fill style to this block color because we will be reusing it for all the blocks, I think. And I'm going to begin the path, move to the block left and bottom, and now align to the right and the bottom, and then towards the tip. So basically X, which is in the middle, and the block top. And fill. There it is, touching here as expected, and I think it looks okay. Now we're gonna do this again and again, 2 more times. And for that, this kind of code is going to become a little bit long, and I'm gonna reuse it, copy it basically. So I like to add a comment here and make sure that people know this is the base, the bottom block. And now for the middle, what I will do is I will modify the properties of this block. So I'm going to set the bottom to be the bottom minus 40% of the size this time. And now the top, this is going to define how tall we want the second block to be. So from this bottom, let's go up 30% of the size. And the block width, I'm going to reduce it as well, maybe to 60%. And now because we have these getters here that use the width value, they will be calculated according to this new width in this case. And now I'm going to just copy this piece of code here. And you probably know by now my opinions about copying code. I'm not going to do anything for it here, but I would if I wouldn't want to give it to you as a homework. And now the top part, let's move the bottom even more up, maybe 60% like this. And now the top, I just wanted to touch the top of the bounding box. And the width is going to be smaller, maybe 40%. And same as before, let's copy this like so. And I think I'm happy with this. Let's refresh until we get some nice green color. Okay. And if you need more inspiration for this one, I do have that one very fancy tree that Frank and I built in some years ago. Check it out if you haven't already.